Hi, boys and girls. I'm Nana Rose. Today's story is Cinderella. Cinderella is a very, very old story. There are many versions of it. This is Pictures by Susan Jeffers, and this is based on the telling by Charles Perrault. That is the one that most people are probably familiar with. This is Pictures by Susan Jeffers, Cinderella. Cinderella. You will note as I read this that it is not the Disney version. Some really pretty illustrations in this. For the cast, Cookie, Danielle, Karen, Patricia, and Elizabeth. There once was a man whose wife died, and so he took another. The new wife was proud and haughty, and had two daughters who were just like her in every way. But the man also had a daughter, and she was sweet and gentle and good as gold. The wedding was hardly over before the woman began to make the stepdaughter's life a misery. From early morning until late at night, the girl was forced to work, to scour the dishes, scrub the floors, and pick up after her stepsisters. She did all she was asked and dared not complain to her father, who would only have scolded her, for his new wife ruled him entirely. I bet you can tell which one's Cinderella in the picture. When she had finished her work, she used to go into the chimney corner and sit quietly among the cinders. And so she was called Cinderwench. But the youngest sister, who was not quite as rude as the others, called her Cinderella. In her ragged clothing with her dirty face, Cinderella was yet 100 times more beautiful than her stepsisters. After some months had passed, the king's son gave a ball and invited to it all the stylish people of the countryside. The two sisters were also invited and immediately set about choosing their gowns and petticoats, the hair ornaments, the slippers they would wear. This made Cinderella's work still harder, for it was she who ironed their linens and pleated their ruffles. All day long, the sisters talked of nothing but how they should be dressed. One night, as Cinderella was helping them, they said to her, "Cinderella, would you not like to go to the ball?" "Oh, please, sisters, do not mock me," she said. "How could I ever dream of such a thing?" "You're right," they answered. "People would surely laugh to see a Cinderwench at the ball." For 2 days, the sisters could hardly eat for excitement. So tightly did they lace themselves that they broke 12 laces. And they were always at their looking glasses, trying on their gowns. At last, the evening of the ball came. Cinderella watched the sisters leave for the court, and when she had lost sight of them, she began to weep. grandmother, who was a fairy, saw her tears and asked what was the matter. I wish I could. I wish I could go to the ball, stammered Cinderella, but she could say no more for crying. Well, then you shall, said her grandmother, and then she told the girl to go into the garden for a pumpkin. Cinderella picked the finest she could find and carried it indoors. Her godmother scooped it out and struck it with her wand. Instantly, the pumpkin turned into a fine, gilded coach. Next, her godmother went to look in the mousetrap, where she found 6 mice, all alive. She tapped each one with her wand, and they were turned into white horses, a fine set of them to draw the coach. But they would still need a coachman. So Cinderella brought the rat trap to her godmother. Inside, there were 3 rats. The godmother chose the one with the longest whiskers, and as soon as she touched him with her wand, he became a fat coachman with a most imposing beard. After that, the godmother turned 6 lizards into footmen, who jumped up right behind the coach and held on as if they had done nothing else their whole lives. Then her godmother said to Cinderella, "Well, my dear, here is your carriage. I hope it pleases you." "Oh, yes," the girl cried. "But what am I to wear? These rags to the ball?" Her godmother simply touched Cinderella with her wand, and at once her clothes were turned into a gown of silver. Then she gave Cinderella a pair of glass slippers, the most beautiful imaginable. But as the girl was ready to leave, her godmother warned her that she must return home by midnight. If she stayed 1 moment longer, her coach would be a pumpkin again, her horses mice, her coachman a rat, her footmen lizards, and her clothing would turn back into rags. Cinderella promised she would not be late, and then she went off to the ball, her heart pounding for joy. Just beautiful illustrations, aren't they? Looks like maybe an apple tree. And the coach passing beneath it.